Hello there, my name is Thomas O'Regan. I'm a professional property investor here in Australia. Now, this might be a bit controversial, but with my property portfolio, I never pay down debt. Let me explain this to you. So, just to really give you a good understanding of where I'm coming from with this, if you look back at history where property prices started, at most of the time when you look back at property prices, the same properties from 10 years ago to now, they generally double every 10 years. Now, let's go a bit more extreme on this. In 1908, you could buy a property in the area where I live for £30, which is $60. Okay? So if you could buy a property for £60 at that time with 100% debt, and you still had 100% debt on that $60, would you be concerned at all about the debt today? The answer is no, you wouldn't be concerned with the debt at all today, because with the same price as you would spend for you and your wife or you and your partner to go out for breakfast, you could pay off the entire mortgage on that property. Now, 108 years ago, £60 or $60 or £30 in the currency at the time was a substantial amount of money. It took someone probably, I think their average wage was like $2 a week or whatever, right? So it took them, 2 to 5 years it took them a substantial amount of time. Let's just say it took them a substantial amount of time, not as substantial as you might think, but it took them a substantial amount of time to pay off that debt. But basically, what I'm trying to get at is, if you are putting your funds towards paying off debt, that is taking away from properties that you otherwise could be buying, right? Because if you are spending $50,000 on reducing your debt every year, for example, you could otherwise just save that money till you got $50,000 and then just buy a whole new property. Now, as I said, properties in my area were £30 in 1908. Now they're $3 million. So how many properties would you prefer to have if you knew that property prices would be where they are now? Would you prefer to have one property that you bought for £30, or two properties that you bought for £30 and are now worth $6 million? I think the answer is pretty obvious, and that is why I do not pay down debt on my property, because I use the funds to acquire a larger asset base so I can hold that larger asset base for as long as possible, which will ultimately make me far more wealthy than just simply using my hard-earned dollars to pay down debt. See you guys next time. Bye.